self-defense machine gun, like an LMG.
Yeah, that would be great. You know,
Should we discuss anything with them at the start, or should we just bring him in and just say fuck it?
Just bring him and do it.
Okay.
Hey, can you shoot that shotgun yet, Crane?
I can't load a shotgun.
Still?
Hey, Jeffrey, what's up? I got a meeting here happening pretty soon, but can I help you real quick, or no? Or is it a long combo?
It's a. Yeah, I understand. It's like frustrating.
Not that long, really.
Shotguns are the best for home defense. You know, they're really terrifying to.
Basically, I want to do as two things. Number one,
slug is
what?
Furious in its own right.
Is there a pay for this, or is the pay the opportunity? And if it's a second one, which I'm fine with, my debt's not fine with it, but I'm fine with it.
Shit out of them. It is ridiculous.
Once I'm done the expungement program on the 21st, what are the odds of me getting a job?
Very high.
Can you still not?
Yeah, if you actually get your record clean and turn your life around, sure, we can get an opportunity. I mean, at the PD.
Oh, fantastic! Because you know, I was just talking to LSBN, and I thought about what a perfect article that would be for you. You take a family of down bad criminals, and you turn their life around and give them the opportunity career of a lifetime.
I mean, I believe in second chances, right? So doesn't matter who it is, I'm willing to give them that second chance. If they want to turn their life around and actually, you know, start being a productive member of society and help people out and be there and try to, you know, do the right thing, then I'm not gonna say in that, you know, between that. I'm not gonna stop that. I'm gonna support it.
All right, fantastic. All right, yeah, that's what I wanted to speak about there.
Yeah, as far as pay, let me look into that. See if we have room for the budget, okay?
Yeah, right.
I'll talk to
Sounds
the
good.
commissioner, okay?
Appreciate it, Chief. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Nova, how's it going?
Chief, can you just
Okay, so
Just very quick.
So,
who's doing it?
can you just say to Angel that Underwood is, just tell her that Nova is and isn't sorry, but if she does want to give those 10 strike points, she would completely understand, okay?
you have any food on you? Oh, yes, you do.
No.
Sorry, I'm stealing that.
Fast 10 strike points, please.
You want 10 strike points?
Yes.
For what? You gotta explain. Tell me what happened.
Because Angel's a better interceptor driver than you, Bass, and it's just blatantly obvious.
What? Okay, fine. 10 strike points.
Yeah! Alright, come on, Scarlett. We did it.
Sounds like it's juicy drama that I can't believe I missed somehow.
Angel, Nova says that she wants 10 strike points.
Yeah, she told me she wants strike points, so she won't tell me why. And then she mumbled something about interceptor driver. And
Yeah,
I think
she said Unruh is a better interceptor driver than you are. So
that's just not factually incorrect, though.
right, she wants the strike points for that.
Hey, Bass, did you know?
Well, I'm gonna have to suspend her, I think. Actually.
Did you know one of my first attorney calls was with Angel when she got a street racer by the name of Chaz Diaz, aka Hulk?
Oh my fucking god!
I still have the report written down.
When was that? Was that the guy that I pitted up?
That was in like July. That was in Vinewood. You actually named
Yes,
the
I remember
track and
him.
told me the route that he was driving, which is why I told him to plead guilty.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
I think he was
Yeah,
driving
yeah.
a white Mustang or something.
Yeah, I feel bad. I completely destroyed the racing scene, and so I decided to take a step back
How
and
could you?
let them gather their confidence somehow. You know?
Fingal, you can't be
Hey,
in here. Go aside. Thank you.
Wrangler.
Hey, Bundy, those warrants
okay.
are pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
What happened with
We
the?
get something good out of it? Oh, meth.
A
Nice.
shit ton. A fucking
Gotta-
like 60 bags.
You got a
Like,
replace
like
it,
big
or,
bags. Big bags. It literally just happened.
Oh, like the okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
okay.
good.
Good shit.
All right, lay it on me. What's going on?
All right, so I've received a number of complaints regarding the lockdown system.
Oh,
You and I talked about this originally,
Really?
Wrangler, the other
no
day.
way.
No way. I know, shocked, right?
Wow, that's surprising.
We spoke about this the other day, and I told you that if we continued down this path, it was likely going to result in either legislation or in some kind of pushback.
Yeah.
And here we are. So here's my perspective.
Okay.
I don't think we can continue locking down properties without a pending warrant or without any kind of stated probable cause.
I'm gonna be-
stated to who?
To the
Okay,
judge.
So I would like to play devil's advocate on this one because I think we need to reach a middle ground somewhere between what you just said and what we're currently doing. The problem is that if we're waiting until we have an actual signed warrant, waiting on a judge's signature.
Well, no, hold that thought. He's saying
No,
pending,
no, I'm
pending
saying
warrant.
pending.
Yeah.
You know how long it takes me to fucking type?
That's
If
my
you're
point.
writing up a warrant, then you could lock it down. I think what he's saying is don't lock it down unless you're writing up a warrant.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, I
exactly
agree
what we're
with-
talking
I
about.
agree
Alright,
with Crane on
okay.
this one too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What if? Yeah. Okay. Well.
I'm sorry, Wrangler. You need some sort of paperwork before you can lock people's shit
Okay.
down.
So, nice to see you, Angel.
Good to see you.
Yeah, regular. I brought everybody here who's in high command so we'd be on the same page. So it's not an issue going forward.
Everybody.
Yeah,
I tried to
I was
email the
asked-
sheriff.
I was asked to be here.
Yeah,
okay?
I
didn't come
emailed
over
the
to
sheriff
listen.
and the other shift. They couldn't make it, or else they'll be here.
Okay. So here's the thing, though. If we're investigating one person's property, and it looks like that another property might be involved with this. Another person might be involved with it, but we don't have the proof yet. But we're probably going to get it out of the house. We just need it to further the search, another search warrant. I think that's still a valid reason. It's still under investigation.
That
And
sounds to me
the-
like you have reasonable suspicion, but not PC, and PC is what we need to lock down a property.
Correct.
My question is, how could you possibly say that you're going to get more PC to raid another property just because one property has something in it? 'Cause
Join
you
me
need to
on a
articulate-
raid.
You need to articulate the
I
other
will.
property has stuff in it, though.
Why is it so
Wrangler.
loud now?
But if someone has a bunch of drugs, it's very likely that that property
All right.
will.
Okay, stop. Hold on.
Okay.
So let's add context here. For example, right? The situation with the warehouse with the drugs that stemmed from the metamorphine. So everyone's on the same page. I'll go through the basic understanding.
I'll find him in a
Wrangler
room.
gets a tip off from a CI that someone is selling metamorphine at Autos. He arrests the person. He gets them in custody. He interrogates them. The person admits under Miranda what they were doing. They give him permission, affirmative consent, to search a warehouse in their name. When he searches the warehouse, he finds a meth-producing table, a bunch of pillows of meth, and he finds several IDs in that warehouse. Now, I want to be certain that we're on the same page here in our understanding that the list of IDs was not limited to people in one gang, and it was not limited to criminals. One of the person's IDs in there was Winona Fontaine, the ex-DOC warden. But Wrangler went ahead and locked down the properties for not only the people whose IDs were found in those warehouses,
Oh my
but
god, he
anyone
did?
who those people have keys to properties for. So my point is that at that point, that is reasonable suspicion, as Bundy just said, and not probable cause.
But I was right. I was actually right. Exactly
Wrangler,
what I.
that's not
exactly
how the
what I
justice
told
system
you.
works.
Okay.
Do you remember how I turned down the first warrant when you hadn't done the subpoena?
Right. And here's
And
the
then
thing:
you
if
did
all
the
those
subpoena,
properties wouldn't have
and
been
that-
locked down, we
wait,
wouldn't have found
wait,
shit.
wait,
We wouldn't have
wait.
found a
Well, hold on,
goddamn
hold
thing.
on. Let
Wait,
him finish.
Okay.
And then you did the subpoena and you got
Right.
probable cause and I signed the warrant. If I had signed the warrant before you had probable cause and before it met the search and seizure warrant guidelines of more likely than not, then guess what? Just because you were right doesn't mean it was legal. So just because your raids turned out to be fruitful doesn't mean the action was legal of locking down all the properties. That is why Fruit of the Poisonous Tree exists.
Okay.
Because if you do an action that is illegal and then you find illegal shit, it all gets taken back. Now, we don't have a law right now that says that you have to have probable cause for the lockdown. But what I'm telling you is that if you guys don't start adhering to the idea of reasonable suspicion versus probable cause, then I will fully legislate what should already be understood from the Constitution.
Okay. I'm sure you will, but right now I'm just curious. What are we all worked up about? What specific examples? I'm just curious.
Okay, so why was Miguel Almirian in lockdown for 24 hours? Why was his house locked down?
Oh, we're good.
Why was a house he has keys
Actually,
access
Brian's
to
here.
locked down?
Brian.
They're calling you, sir. They're calling you.
Wrangler, nobody here can argue or disagree to the fact that you
Hello?
get the job done. You
Hey.
yield results, you get big raids, big busts, right?
Right.
What we're trying to say
Absolutely.
is just take the right measures and the right steps to get there. That's all it is.
Okay, so hold on. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to defend myself against specific examples here because what ends up happening is when people get in a room, things are just thrown around and then everyone talks
I
over
agree.
me and I'm not
I
able to
agree.
do that. Okay. So Miguel Ramirez. Miguel Ramirez was caught.
Almirian.
Thank you. Miguel. Someone else did that. Miguel Amirion was caught with a Groza and a specific kind of pistol that we have never
You feel
fucking
stupider.
seen ever
It's too funny.
until a crate of them was drug out of this it's a pending investigation, Brian. I don't know how much you want me to say here, but basically, Miguel's thing is a whole fucking thing.
Okay.
It really is a whole
Do you know the
fucking
search
thing.
and seizure warrant guidelines about executing raids and how long you have to serve the papers?
No.
Because I'm well aware that you have not been adhering to those.
Okay. Well, has anyone reached out to me for these papers? Am I supposed to track these people down or what? How am I supposed to deliver these fucking papers if no one's reaching out to me?
You know what
for them?
Wrangler needs? An assistant,
I think
okay?
you text them.
You text them.
Yeah, just
Or
that's
email
how I
them.
texted. That's how I did
All right.
the
Or
this-
email. I don't have
this
any of
check
these
back.
people's emails.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Like,
You don't need it.
I just send them a text that says,
I will
"Hey, by the
happily
way, we
serve these
raided you.
papers if
Here's the
they or
warrant."
their legal representation reaches out to
It
me
is
for
not,
them.
the burden is not on them. It is in the legislation that you are to provide them within a certain amount of time.
Okay, well then I'll just text them.
That is fine.
And how
Look,
long is that time?
I believe it's 72 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bundy.
Alright, fine.
That sounds right to me.
You know, Wrangler, you know what your problem is? You need an assistant, okay? You're
Oh,
trying to juggle
okay.
too many things at once, and it's like causing a lot of backlog for you.
Listen, I just was under the impression that they had to reach out to me. But now that's cleared up.
Yeah, look, I'm not here to tell y'all that I don't like what you're doing. In fact, I'm a big advocate for what Wrangler does, and he knows that. I've helped him secure a number of raid warrants, and I've guided him on how to get to the probable cause that he needed. I'm just telling y'all that
That's the whole
we're
purpose of
towing
having
a
this
line
meeting.
here
We're
with
trying
this
to correct
lockdown
Wrangler on the right
system
path.
where
We're not
cannot
trying to
just have
demote him or
reasonable
punish him. We're
suspicion.
saying,
It
hey,
has
listen,
to be probable cause.
you're on the right track.
And
You just gotta shift you
especially
over
with
to
the
the left a
keyholder
little
system,
bit, so you're straight,
like,
not
so
narrow.
this thing with Miguel Almirian, right, with the Groza and everything, and then he's a key holder to a house that is in Lilith Earhart's name, right, in Mirror Park. The idea of going from, he has some guns that we've never seen before, which is grounds for an investigation, which is reasonable suspicion, and you may get to probable cause if you file subpoenas on him, right? And you find, let's say, communications between him and Lilith Earhart, which, given that, you know, they interact quite frequently, I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. My point is that there are steps that we need to be taking to get to the point of filing for these raid warrants so that they can be approved and they can be legitimate. Otherwise, if we just go straight to locking things down, we are having a big problem here. And this is, and so the conclusion.
I
of
had
that comment,
probable cause to lock down Miguel's property.
the one owned by Lilith Earhart.
Yes.
Why?
Well, like I was about to explain, he had one of these guns that we'd never seen before. He had a Groza. He was involved in an officer-involved shooting, where some items were stolen, and I believed, based on that he was storing illegal things within his properties or properties he had access to.
Okay, so do you see how that sounds a lot like the statement of probable cause you would put in a warrant that you would need signed off on to get access to a property, and how locking down a
Right.
property and denying someone access to their property is a seizure of that property inherently under the Fourth Amendment? So we're getting into the realm of I don't want to sit here and have to like gut check you on every single lockdown you're going to do. But if we insist on doing it in the sort of haphazard shotgun way that it's being done right now, then that may have to happen.
So just,
And we
just
don't
for
want
my-
that, because then add more limitation.
So hold on. So I'm confused here. I feel like we haven't really reached an agreement. Do you want physical paperwork submitted before anything is locked down?
I want you to do things on a good faith basis based on probable cause, not reasonable suspicion.
Okay, and I've yet to see. We've been sitting here talking for quite some time now, but I haven't been presented an example of when you believe I've done that.
I don't think you have probable cause to believe it is more likely than not that more of those unique firearms or illegal firearms are in Lilith
Penta
Earhart's
will
house.
never ever change because he doesn't feel
well,
he has
a
to
guy
answer to anyone.
who has
He's just going to continue
access
to try
to
and
this
do
home
raids
is in
24/7,
possession of
and it will
one,
happen
and we've
until all
literally never
crews on
seen
the
them
So
server
you're
before.
just
going with
shoot
the
him on
argument that
sight.
is, if someone
He
is a
does
key
things
holder
in
of
bad
property,
faith
it means
almost
that that is
always.
open game on a raid warrant if they are found with illegal goods.
Yes,
I do not think that's how we're going to proceed with that.
that's
Unless you
okay,
make the connection
so-
between the two.
I'm sorry.
Right?
So you're operating under the assumption that people don't put stash houses in other people's names?
I'm operating under the assumption that we are at a point with the key holder system where if we just literally went off of they have access to the property based on what I see on my MDW, and that means I can link them to that person and I should be able to search that property, that we are not heading in a good direction.
Oh,
I think
buddy.
I think that what Crane is trying to say is that because we've gotten into a relaxed state with our current warrants, Wrangler, you remember how the DOJ was making us have like specific
I'll put it this way,
probable
yeah.
cause as to
I don't
like,
wanna-
the
yeah.
property itself? Like what was that, 6 or 7 months ago?
Yep.
I used to
Yeah.
have to camp in bushes and wait for people to go in and their
I'm
properties
advocating
and
for a
get
middle
Right.
ground here where you use subpoenas to get that linkage. You don't necessarily have to see the person going to the house with a camera.
Well, I
'Cause
think, it's
subpoenas are more realistic, but I still don't think it's okay to have.
You're asking for
no
another connection
additional,
to that property within the key
connection.
holder to make that probable cause stick.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think people should be abusing the lockdown mechanism.
What?
So in the connection of
Wait,
Miguel
what?
Almirian to
What?
Lilith Ilhart for this raid, did you
Is that
have
a hot mic?
independent connection?
Yes.
What was that?
Brian has asked me not to speak on the details of his investigation.
I don't think Lilith's name came up in it yet.
The gang she's in did, Brian.
Oh, you can mention that.
Oh, fuck. This is
okay,
too funny.
So we believe that the HOA is directly involved with not only selling weapons, but also drugs. Are you sure, Brian? I mean, this is your thing.
I don't know where you're going with this, so.
I don't, Brian. We talked about this link.
I mean,
for hours.
we can trust everybody here. It's fine. I think you can proceed.
Yeah.
Can
I think
we?
it's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, this is
Brian
fine.
was just telling me for.
I mean, look who's in the room.
Do you want Brian here or not,
Right.
Wrangler?
There's
I
also
want Brian
dispatchers
here.
and Fingal
I'm
Dan
fine.
present,
I'm fine with it.
Do you not think there's a mole in the PD anymore?
This is Angel, Molten, Bass,
Okay.
Bundy.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
Look, the only
He-
person
he's
I refer
been-
to is Satan, okay?
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm being so reserved is because Brian yelled at me for 2 hours how he believes there's a PD, there's a mole within the PD. But I guess since we're not doing that anymore, I'll just let it flop.
Okay.
Well,
Let's
what?
not turn
You're
into the-
not. You're not.
I'm
being
looking
very
at the
helpful here.
people. Literally am walking in with like
As
on my
Fingal Dan
15th
hears
hour,
everything.
and God knows I don't even know what the fuck this meeting's about. Quite frankly,
It's about PD lockdowns.
Yes, I did believe that Lilith Earhart, based on the information that we had gathered over multiple investigations and her association with a active violent street gang, could potentially have some illegal items in her home.
Okay. I don't know if there's a way to resolve this without going down the more paperwork route, because I hate the more paperwork route. Let's go with the other examples. What about the other day with all the key holders associated with Mary Posa who were her clients?
That's how you say her name. Mariposa, not pussy.
Mariposa is a meth addict that robs bank.
Did you have a linkage outside of their ID and her having key holder access to their homes for it to
Yes.
lock down all those property?
Yes, I did.
Okay, how did you have access to?
Mariposa was in direct possession of a meth bag that we had pulled out of a meth lab that ended up being associated with a gang that is associated with another gang that she
Right,
is
those
a
ones
member
I
of.
signed warrants on and I thought they were legitimate. I'm talking about the other ones who were her house decorating clients.
How am I supposed to know what her house decorating clients is?
Well,
and
I
what's
just
a red
asked you if
herring?
you had a linkage to them and you said you didn't. You did. So what was it?
Her
Because some of those
having
people were
ac-
not in that gang.
her having access to the property. I feel like that's the disconnect here.
So again, you're going back to just having access to the property is enough without any other kind of linkage.
Yeah, Wrangler needs more than that.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's where the disconnect here is. I feel like that should be enough to at least lock it down. I understand. I'm with you where you feel like that shouldn't be enough to have it rated. But I
that's
do
the
think
same-
that should.
It's still a violation of their rights. It's a seizure of the property.
Well, maybe don't give your fucking key to your house out to a goddamn meth smoking bank robber.
I don't think it's the issue here. The issue here is we're basically violating their Fourth Amendment right by locking it down without probable cause.
I did
I
have
mean-
probable cause. I just explained it.
Just to speak on how this matter was handled back in Liberty City, whenever we would lock down properties, it would only be like, you would post up units, put crime scene tape up, so on and so forth. But it would only be on properties that you were actively pursuing a search and seizure on. You were looking for a magistrate judge. You were trying to get somebody to sign it. You couldn't lock down properties like hoping that you would later find evidence, because, like Crane said, that is a seizure of the property. If the warrant got rejected, then that doesn't really matter, because you were pursuing it in good faith. But if you locked down a property, you put like 4 units on it to keep people out of it or whatever, and then you never wrote a warrant, you would get sued out of the ass. For that.
I think what Chris is trying to say is she had PC for her personal properties, but the key holders where she was sharing that key with somebody else is not enough PC to lock down that property and push for a raid.
Right. So how is it any different than her owning a house and her living in a house? Potentially. What the fuck's the
Because
difference?
I can give anyone keys to my property anytime without their consent. They're digital.
That sucks.
I could give you a key to my house right now. I could give anybody a key to my house. They could do nothing about it, and they can't get it removed until I do it for them.
Okay, well, why would you sabotage yourself like that?
There are plenty of people that would do that.
Then I don't feel bad for them? What are we getting
There
at
are
here?
plenty of people that would get other people raided on purpose because they hate them.
Why would that get someone else raided? You would get raided. You're confusing
No,
yourself
you
now.
just told me that if I have a bunch of meth in my house and I have access to another house, that gives you right to search that house.
Your house would get
if
raided.
if I get in good with another person and get them to give me a key for some reason, I can get them raided.
No, because it's because the key holder. So if you gave your key to me without me knowing, and I'm a meth smoking bank robber, then you would get raided because it's your house. I have a key to it. That's what you just
and
said.
it can go the other way, where you can get someone to give you a key out of good faith out of running a business or something.
It's like
and
planting
then you have a
guns,
key
the
to
same
their
kind of
house,
way, right?
and if you get raided, then it can link to them.
Right. Well, I don't know what to say. I think this is why landlords do background checks. So they're not giving keys out to their properties of people who are criminals.
Okay, just to kind of bring things in here, I just don't think that having access to a place gives you the ability to rate it, because that means that you could articulate that literally wherever this person has access to, there could be things stored at it.
Well, how about don't give keys of your home to meth smoking bank robbers? I mean, I don't know.
But if just having access
Chat,
to a place,
the
gives you
thing about
ability
it
to
is
go
we
inside
live
of it,
in
then you
Los
could articulate
Santos,
that literally
not Los
anywhere
Angeles,
meth-smoking bank
right?
robbers
So there's
go,
limitation of
could be a
RP
place that they're
and how the
storing
law
shit.
is
They could be
interpreted.
fucking hiding things underneath the seats of burger
So I
shop, and
see
you can go
Wrangler's
raid
point
that
of view,
place,
but
is
also
what
I
you're
support
articulating.
Crane
You see them go to the
because
location,
there is
you have the
limitations
PC
to
to
how
go there,
things are
that's what I'm
done in our
saying.
city.
Yeah, this gets really awkward when it comes to
Sometimes,
like
yeah.
business
Wait,
people
Burger
too.
Shop's been raided because of that. Actually, yes.
No, what I'm saying though is if that's all that it takes to get raided, then let's say hypothetically
That
Crane
is
here,
all it takes to get raided.
if Crane here has an RPG or whatever and he gets raided, then we go through all of his apartments, every single business he's ever had access to, the courthouse, we go through every single office he's ever been in, we go through the police department because he's concealed had access to. We have to literally go fucking everywhere, and it doesn't make any sense.
I think scope is the most important thing when it comes to these raids, right? And like Crane was trying to say, you need that second connection. You got the legwork. All you gotta do is get that probable cause, the subpoena, or something else to support the connection that, hey, they've been inside there, or they have basically the stash anything inside that property.
I'm just gonna say this, okay? It is, and I'll be the person that does this, and I'll take it to them and see what their direction is. I'll go to the Senate and ask their input, but we're at the point where
Jesus Christ,
I agree with Wrangler that in some ways, right, like logically and just on a very base level, legally, he can try to make a connection between someone having access to a property and the likelihood that they've stored drugs in those properties, especially if he raids 3 of their 5 properties and the first 3 are all hits, okay? However, do I think that with the advent of the digital key system and the way that key holders works, that I'm comfortable signing off on raid warrants for properties simply because someone is a key holder? No, I've actually told him that. So as a result, do I believe that if I wouldn't sign off on a raid warrant for a property, just someone is a key holder, that there is probable cause to then lock it down? No.
Do you know how stash houses work?
I think the point that he's trying to make, though, is that there are ways to articulate and get at that stash house without immediately locking it.
I remember when we would have people running stash houses that haven't been active in fucking months.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dead people used to run stash house all the time.
I mean, you guys are. I don't know if you guys know what you're
these properties are being seized and taken away from them quite quickly now with this new asset system.
What properties have been seized?
Well, it hasn't happened yet because the system was
Oh,
introduced
okay,
last
got it,
month.
yeah,
But okay, well, I mean, sorry.
All these
for-
properties have,
Sorry
but it
for
hasn't
giving
happened
you.
yet.
Well, sorry for telling you the way that shit works. I guess you didn't fucking read the announcement.
Well, but I'm asking you.
Maybe you should read the search and seizure guidelines before you start writing this shit out, Wrangler.
Holy
I can't
shit!
fucking believe that we
Maybe
have
when
to
you give
sit
an
here and tell
example,
this
you
to
should. But you
Oh,
you
I'm
have
gonna
yet to
bring
name
Angel
one
here, holy
time that
shit.
I've abused this system. I'm standing here.
Like
There's
the
fucking
time
10 of you
locked
here.
30
When the fuck
people's
has it
houses
happened?
for no reason? For no
Wrangler,
reason.
Wrangler. Hold on,
But
stop,
wait,
stop.
but when?
Stop,
I'm standing
stop
here.
yelling,
When?
stop
When has
yelling,
it
stop
happened? I'm
yelling.
asking you when.
Okay, I believe, Wrangler, that the time.
Hey, pop off, Queen Angel, pop off.
Mary Posted had access to because of her business or employment.
Talk
which
your
she
shit, Angel.
told
Talk
you
your shit.
in interrogation, she told you about. I know because I
He could
confirmed
be
with her.
lying.
Right. And so if someone's lying, guess what that is? Reasonable suspicion to investigate, not to automatically lock down those properties just because she's a key holder.
I've explained to you why
We're
I
going
had
in
PC.
circles.
I don't know why you're veering away from that.
You did not have PC to lock down people who had nothing to do with that gang.
But they inherently do when she gives them access to her property, because then she's acting as a resident.
No, that's reasonable suspicion.
No, the
That's a
probable.
link.
Yes, that is reasonable suspicion. Pause.
And you need
pause.
to prove, and
pause,
you need to prove that
and
they
I'm
have
about to do it
actually
right now.
accessed it and put things
Okay.
inside that place.
What is it, Wrangler?
I'm sorry. Is them not having a key to the property not proof that they've been
No,
inside
it's
of it?
not. Just because you have access to a place doesn't mean you've been inside of that place. I could go walk in a fucking burger shop and I haven't been there in 2 months.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So someone having access to a property isn't proof that they have access to a property. I
No,
understand.
it's not proof that they've been in the property. I need you to listen, Wrangler.
Okay. They haven't been in it, but they just have access to it.
You need to prove that they're actually using that property for something. You can't just lock it down because they have a key to it.
All right. If that's what you guys want to do, let's
No,
go
I mean,
for it.
Wrangler, are you getting the gist of the whole thing and the whole purpose behind this meeting, so on the same page? I mean, that's the reason I brought everybody down here, so we can talk about and discuss it, so on the same page. So it's not an issue going forward.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Let's go with that.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it. Are you sure?
I'm so. I mean, if it like Crane said, we're going in circles. If you guys truly honestly believe that someone having access to a property isn't proof enough that they've been inside of that property, I don't know.
That's not what's being said, and you're misconstruing everyone's word intentionally, Wrangler. Stop it.
That is literally what was just said.
That is not what was said, and you just stop.
That's what was just said.
That's not what was just said.
Okay, I feel like I'm being gaslit, actually.
So, okay, stop. So what was said was that just because someone on the MDW has key holder access to a property does not mean they've been inside of it.
Yes, that's what was said.
That's what I just said.
That's not what you said, Wrangler.
What is happening right now?
Okay. Just because because this back and forth is gonna be pointless because we're arguing right now. Okay. Are we clear as far as the guidelines for the lockdown? Are we on the same page here?
I think in the meantime, Crane said it best. I think that as much as, we don't like bothering them, perhaps Crane should go to the Senate and find out what the intention was of us getting access to the digital lockdown system.
I'm just afraid that there's going to be more paperwork and guidelines to lock down a property, and it's become a shit show and a hassle just to get it done. So, and I don't want that to become a thing because this tool we have helps a lot. And last thing I want is additional
You
steps.
realize that this tool that we have is directly because of the fucking stash houses that we had to deal with before the rebuild. You realize that, right?
Absolutely.
This is why we have it.
Hold on.
So that's what you guys are going towards.
Hold on. That is not exactly why we have it. There are other elements that came in, such as extending the number of keys that people can have to a given house. In the old system, which was a couple months ago before we got the lockdown access, there was only 1 or 2 extra keys to a house. Now there are like 4. So there were reasons why this was added, but It is not inherent that just because you can see something means that it gives you probable cause, which I will get firm clarification on from the Senate, okay? And the
If the Senate gets
architects and
involved,
such.
GG
But in
boys.
terms of this discussion, I think we've
If the
all
Senate
reached
gets
the point where we
involved, they're probably going to
understand
ask for
each
more
other's point of view.
guidelines.
I don't begrudge
And a
any
lockdown
of you for
system
your
is going to
point of
become more
view.
of a hassle
I
than
understand
actually a lockdown.
exactly logically where Wrangler's
I'm just
coming
scared of that.
from.
That's all
I
it is.
understand legally where his head is at. I don't think that every
I
single
hope it
time
doesn't
he's locked
happen,
down a
but
property, it's
I'm
been
scared of it
wrong.
happening.
I don't think that every single time he's locked down a property, it's been right. What that does mean is that we need clarification on intent from the Senate, as Moulton said. So I think this was productive. I think, we got a bit of understanding here, and we can move forward and get some direction from on high. Does anyone have a problem with that?
I don't.
I
No,
don't.
I generally
The only
agree with
thing I
that.
would like to point out is what exactly is the difference between the MDW saying someone's a key holder and saying that they're a homeowner? I mean, just because they own the home, it's the same logic. That still doesn't prove that they've been inside that house.
Hey, Wrangler, I got a question for you.
Yep.
What's the difference between a door being unlocked and a door being open?
The lock being locked? I don't know.
Well, there you go, because I would consider a door being adjacent, it being open or not. But we all have to work with what we can work with, right? So let's not go down these roads.
I'm saying the opposite of the point you're trying to prove right now.
Understood.
Okay, fantastic.
Like at the end of the day, we don't want to lose access to these tools. Okay, so we can't be abusing them. So regardless of your personal opinions on the matter, what is important is that we're following the guidelines that are set before us. All right.
100%. Last thing we want is another fucking step or two when it comes to these lockdowns, right? Because they've saved us a lot. So as long as we're adhering by guidelines and we're following the steps when it comes to the guidelines for the search and seizure for the probable cause, I don't think anybody would have an issue with what you're doing, Wrangler.
No, your raids are fantastic, to be honest. You're the most productive member in this police department.
Yeah,
in
and
my
I
opinion.
defend him to every single criminal. However, there are some times where we have to look at things and take the temperature of where we're at internally.
I don't
As
think
the
this
DOJ.
conversation should be happening here.
You may not be entirely wrong.
Well,
Alrighty.
I mean, I want to just get the ball rolling on it so we can have at least a discussion as far as the issues that have been brought up to Ukraine. So instead of just like waiting for that date to happen.
I'm going to bow out of this and get back to what I'm doing because, like I said, I feel like this conversation is heading to a point where it shouldn't be happening here.
Yep, we should talk
Goodbye.
somewhere else. We'll see y'all.
All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks
that
for all
note,
the
Crane-
examples that were given to me of.
Crane, on that note,
You're
did you
welcome.
see what I
Appreciate
emailed
that.
you? Is that I'll be blunt. That was
So,
my understanding of the
Did
system.
you bring
but
me
I
here
could
to
be
yell
wrong
at him? Is
on
that
it.
why you brought me
No,
here?
I mean, I brought everybody who from high command so we can have a discussion about it. And that way,
Does that make sense
it
what
doesn't
I'm
feel like
saying
Wrangler
there,
is being
Crane?
ganged up on. I just wanted to bring everybody who's from the high commanding, circle so they can give their input on it. So it feels like, everybody's on the same page.
Oh, okay.
Right, but I feel like asking me to come here specifically, it
that
kind of
makes
made
sense
a lot of
then.
this really awkward.
No,
We
I asked
we
Rose and I asked
also
Kyle.
tried,
I asked
We
everybody.
also tried to reach out to
Yeah.
Brad,
Right,
we were
but
trying to
I
get
mean,
everybody.
a good friend of mine was a direct recipient of a lot of this shit. So,
I mean, you're a captain in the bay. That's what matters, your angel. None of that bullshit out there matters, honestly. You're a captain in the bay. Your input matters. You're a high commanding member. That's it. That's why I brought you here.
all right, I just don't like the appearance of any personal bias. So.
No, that's exactly why I asked somebody from high command to show up. I didn't want to make it feel like LSPD is like trying to gang up on, Wrangler
No,
kind of thing.
I'm not talking about that.
I was really hoping the sheriff would be able to be here because.
Yeah, I
I'm
emailed
gonna be-
Kyle
I'm
and
gonna
he
be
responded back to me.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. I think that the more captains there are people who are of a lateral rank to Wrangler, I don't think was as helpful.
Right,
As
the
having,
reason
the sheriff and as chief and as sheriff and all.
I had no
Okay.
idea Mary was
they would
involved
have
in the
been
whole
better
thing.
to be here than me because my cousin Mary was the direct recipient of a lot of this bullshit. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, I
guys.
totally get that, but at the
So
same
that's
time,
why I shouldn't be here.
I mean, I don't see it that way. I think you're a high commanding member that has input and can influence the direction of the PD, right? So that's why you're here in the first place.
We also didn't want to avoid appearance of LSPD and DOJ just like punching down on him. That was
Sure. Like
Also, I didn't know that at all.
didn't know what.
Oh, I didn't know anything about your cousin.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, yeah.
No,
I
I
mean,
had no
that's why I felt a little bit awkward coming. I mean, I'm really happy
I
to
don't.
be here.
I mean, I think what you
just,
said was very important. Actually, I'm glad you showed up, Angel, because you provided very good insight as far as the guidelines and how everybody should adhere to it, regardless if they like it or hate it. So,
Well,
I
I've had to
appreciate
play
you.
by these guidelines for a long time, and I know the stresses of dealing with them. Which is, I'll be honest with you, I do find it a little bit frustrating that we're abusing the system after it was given to us. When I remember a long time ago when I wanted to raid OTT's stash house, I spent literally 6 hours just camping.
I don't
in a
think Kyle
bush
would
with
have
a fucking
instigated. No,
camera,
I don't think
just
Kyle would have been
waiting
mature
for
about
him to
it.
go in
I'm not
out
sure.
of the
Maybe I'm not
fucking
sure. I don't
place
know.
So I could get a raid warrants on that place.
I wish Kyle would have showed
So,
up.
from
Honestly, I would
hell,
love to have him
things
here.
to swing so
Or to ready.
drastically from that to this person has keys, so I can go in their house. It doesn't sit right with me. You know?
Yeah, that was my fear. Is like if we're going down this path, it's a path of no return. And once we go down there, we're losing that ability. And once we lose that ability, our job to raid these scumbags is going to become a lot harder, and more resources will be exhausted to watch these properties 24/7.
Yeah, you know, it's like shooting a fucking street racer and then saying, "Whoa, I caught one! Congratulations, you fucking shot someone that was driving really fast. Good job, you did it. I'm really proud of you."
I hope
Can I ask something? Was Lilith's property locked down?
it was
Yes.
And when was it locked down?
when Miguel was caught yesterday.
Okay.
It was
All
locked
right.
down for
That
about
gives a lot
24
more
hours.
context.
And Miguel
Sorry?
was also on a hold for a full 24 hours
What was the reason for that?
without any communication to him of what was going on or why.
Well, okay. I will
That's,
pause there. I am going to say anytime that somebody says without any communication as to why this was happening,
that
they're
is what he
usually
told me.
lying. I have personally been the victim of sending people up on like terrorism holds for held until trial. And then later they have complained.
Like I
to
said,
their
I don't think
attorneys and the
anybody
DOJ and
disagrees
said,
with the
"Nobody
Wrangler's
told me
ability to
why
get the
why
job
this
done.
was happening."
Correct,
All we're
but I had a
saying is
record
make
of this
sure
from you. I
that
had
we
no
have
record
good
of this
faith
in terms of a communication.
once you place that
Nobody
lockdown.
said he was being sent up
Not
for
a
24
hunch,
hours.
not a
and why.
reasonable suspicion, probable cause. That's all it is.
But I mean,
But I
personally, I
guess
think with the 24
I guess the way he
holds,
saw
like,
it, he saw like the key holder being the connection
it's
for
been
that
pretty
probable
well
cause, and that's
communicated
why he was
within the
doing it.
police
So I
department
guess you
that,
could say
you know,
acting in good
that
faith,
hold
but now that we
ends
corrected
there
him,
are
he should know
investigative
better.
Actions on that person, and if there are no investigative actions to take, then the hold it becomes illegitimate at that
For
point.
reference, the last hold that was filed to us in the hold form was January 10th for Alexei Pavlovich.
Yeah, I did that one. Oh, I should probably release that
Well,
guy. Actually,
hang on. I guess on that, Crane, maybe I'm confused, but my understanding was the distribution list was supposed to replace the form. Like if we have
You
that
mean the PD, DOJ, SPU, DOC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying it wasn't there either. I checked the list as a backup
okay,
in case someone used the form.
I'm just clarifying. We're not filling stuff out in like triplicate here. We're just throwing it in the
No,
distribution
I
list.
just
Okay.
there are some people who don't adjust to
Gotcha.
new things
Okay.
properly quickly. So I checked the form as a backup, and that was not used either. So there was actually no formal communication.
And also, just so we're not getting too far from the topic, as a stopgap until we get Senate clarification, if you are about to write a warrant, as in like right fucking then, you could lock down the properties that they are the owners of. However, if they are a key holder, you need something a little more than they're just a key holder until we get that clarification.
That's exactly what we're trying to say here, okay? The connection for probable cause should not be I'm a key holder. It should be more investigation work through a subpoena or just trying to make that connection to where you can say, hey, I have good faith or I believe they have evidence stored inside that property.
Now there is a counterbalance because the idea of, you know, Wrangler was saying stash houses, the idea of, let's say I'm a criminal gang member and I have keys to Brian's house and my shit gets locked down because I get found for felony possession of intent to distribute down at the Murrieta oil fields and with a whole bunch of meth, right? And dirty money and Glock 18C. So if my shit then gets locked down and I get put on a hold, if my lawyer then, you know, just goes ahead and talks to, you know, Brian and says, clear out your house, that means that Brian's shit is always going to get cleared out. So whoever's doing the selling then would just make sure that their
Chat,
properties
physical
are clean,
keys
and
would
the
make
other ones
stash
they were
houses
evil
impossible to
would then
counter. What are you guys
become
talking about?
impenetrable, unless there was independent
We
investigation.
live
done,
in
which
an
we all know
ecosystem,
would take more time than just,
but with serious limitation because the
amount of
video
time it
game.
would take the attorney to contact Brian. So as a result, there is a world where I understand Wrangler's perspective here. But even though that may be the case, I don't know if that's the intent behind the system.
I have another logistical question as a stopgap. This is specifically with vehicles. If someone's vehicle is currently stored in a location, whether it's on their MDW or not, do we have to write up a separate warrant for that? Or does the warrant saying we could raid the vehicle give us PC to crack open that garage and pull the vehicle out?
Further question, why is Mariposa being held in prison pending a raid?
That's a good
why
question.
Is Mariposa on hold right now?
Is she?
I don't
Yes.
think we did that.
I think Wrangler already raided her.
Oh,
let her
she
out?
was. Oh, I know why.
I think it was right
This
before
is when I woke up
conversation.
last night, or what should I say?
So
Okay,
she's
that,
been in
like,
there 24 hours.
Probably. So, the warrant that Bundy put out.
Yeah, I can't say anything. I was on tab.
Like, that was completely separate. There was some other shit that went down last night. There was like a prison thing. Look, I wasn't there. I only heard about this.
Was
Some,
there
like,
a warrant?
shootout.
Was she raided?
Yes, she was just raided.
Yeah.
We put a warrant in. There's actually there's both the regular version and the hop sealed version are in the.
When was she raided? Like in the last couple hours?
Yeah, within the last couple of hours.
So is she being released?
Well, Wrangler's the one who finished the warrant, so.
God damn it!
Is she?
But the hold
awake?
was a separate. But just to be clear, that hold was a separate matter.
Hey, did you guys complete the raid
Am I
on
wrong, Bunny?
Mariposa?
We didn't put her on a
No,
hold.
Release her.
we
She
did
did
not
some
put her
shit
on hold.
last night and conveniently was arrested on a separate thing.
Correct, yes. Also, Malden, I think that you're overthinking it, to be completely honest with you, because as a person who raids a lot of people, if you are the key holder to a property and you also have a vehicle parked in the garage there, I think that extends the probable cause far enough to a raid on that property at that point.
That's
So
a,
I
that's a
don't
crane
think
question at this point, right? So, as a stopgap, are we saying if they have the car stored in the garage, that is enough PC, or would you like to see more than that until you get clarification from the Senate, Crane?
As it stands now, there is no legislation. Hello.
Okay, so try it in a warrant and see if it flies.
Her attorney emailed me.
Yeah, basically. And I've tried it in
Okay.
a
He's been
warrant and
calling
it
me
has
about
flagged.
6 times. I've been in that meeting.
All
Well,
right.
it's blue. It has flown.
And he texted me.
That sounds right.
It has flown.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be completely honest with you,
I
you
don't
don't need
know.
much
The
PC
attorneys
to
wanna reach
tie
out
them
to
into
me.
these co-holding properties because we already have, like, reasonable suspicion that they're living at or using this place as a storage facility or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think
the
they're saying
moment-
they just want more than
Chat,
one
was this
BW.
meeting good or bad?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, the moment you start digging into these people and they've been arrested together before, or they're members of the same gang, or their
Right.
vehicles parked on that property,
Yeah, that
like-
makes sense.
like, honestly, like, is physical observation great as, slapping down
Hey,
a
Chief, how's it
camera or
going?
having
Pretty
an
sad the
officer
Cowboys
sit in the
lost.
bush for
Wanna go on
6
a
hours
date?
and seeing them
No.
enter the property? That would be the gold standard, but the silver standard will still get signed. So
I guess while we're on this topic, of,
Hello.
like, oh, okay, Crane, Bundy, have you all or SE have they been making use of cameras, but in like public locations? Like, have you guys tried just slapping one of those cameras on like a telephone pole in your house and getting PC off that?
yes, yeah, they've made use of putting them on like publicly owned property, specifically for warehouses. That gets used a lot.
I think it was good, in my opinion, because many people have an issue with it.
Just
It
for
really
full
to be addressed.
transparency for
That's
you
exactly
guys,
what's my
SE is
thing
putting
behind
out
it.
Probably 10 cameras a day.
You should have held it in a
Okay.
neutral
It's-
location.
it's
Wait,
not
what? What is that supposed to
always,
mean?
Like, widely reported.
Don't think Renly
on,
got it?
but
I mean, I don't
for
know
an ongoing
what part of it I didn't
investigation.
understand. I thought we
They
could
are
spin
getting
ourselves pretty well.
utilized pretty frequently.
Oh, okay, as long as they're
Because Senate
getting utilized,
implement a system to
as-
differentiate permanent keys to,
Yeah.
I don't know, fossil.
They're
That sounds like a lot of
commonly used
coding.
on drug selling locations are standard for that.
I do agree that some of these
After
combos
we
should be
have
done
received
OOC on
activity
Discord, but
in
at the same
a,
time, it's like,
known
we can't just
location.
ignore the elephant in the room. I
we'll
wanted to kind
slap
of
down
talk
cameras
about
to
it
see
and
the
have
person
Crane and
comes
everybody else
back.
around so we can discuss it.
And they get used for staking out warehouses, staking out growing ups, things like that. I mean, they're using somewhere between 10 and 12 of them a day, I would estimate. Slowed down a little over Christmas, but
Well, regardless, we got the clarification we need for the stopgap until the Senate weighs in. So I guess we know how to proceed.
Cool. I'm going back to sleep, you guys.
Thank you for
Yeah,
showing
I'm
up, Angel, on
outta
short
here. I'm
notice. I
outta here as
appreciate
well.
that.
Yeah, thank you for
appreciate you
coming in,
being here,
Angel.
Angel.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
It's good to see you.
Have a good
I hope
night.
to see you more often.
Yeah, let me know the next time you need a lightning rod for the hate. Okay, I'll be there then.
Wait, what? No, it's not like
What the
that.
hell?
Appreciate it, boss. Thanks.
That's not what we needed.
It's been a whole 24 hours since the last one.
So why was I
God
brought
damn it.
down here?
How am I the
That's,
bad
that's
guy,
what got me
man?
confused.
God damn it, I feel
Wrangler
bad
was
now.
Afraid of leaking your ongoing investigation.
I feel
so
bad.
they
God
wanted
damn
to
it.
Okay.
put on it.
Was it not obvious why it was okay to speak around you guys?
I guess he takes confidentiality pretty seriously.
No, hell fucking no. Okay, look, I'm just gonna be pretty straight. I think he wanted me to back up a stupid opinion. I don't even know that why Lilith's key was locked down to begin with. Fact of the matter is, it was very clear that this was an active investigation. But we got Crane over here who's been signing the warrants.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely transparent.
You
I
saw
see
my
where
email
he-
last night.
Honestly,
right?
Angel had bigger
Yeah,
balls
yeah.
than everybody in the
I
meeting, including
actually
myself.
see where Wrangler
So
is
do
coming
I,
from
100%.
with the Lilith Association. I think the Miguel situation was unique insofar as the probable cause existed for a warrant to be signed, but following discussions, we decided not to push that route because it would be trivial compared to the larger investigation. I think the real problem there is the fact that the individuals that were subject to those holds and those property like freezings were not released.
Sab,
from
is your
that
crim
when
CB
they
or
should have
CG?
been.
Bitch, I'm changing.
So tell me if I'm stepping the line here, but based on the timeline and the conversations that have transpired, Miguel was on our radar, right? But we had not yet written a warrant.
No, Brian, we're not trying to
We're-
argue that. We're trying to say that him having access to Lilith's property, that connection is not probable cause to lock down the property.
No, I'll rip the
Agreed.
Band-Aid off. This investigation has given us reason to believe that the HOA is directly connected with the individuals who are selling these firearms, and additionally who have been the primary distributor of the mysterious pills that have been popping up on the streets. And therefore, Miguel being a key holder for her property, and her being a member of the HOA, the PC is there. It exists.
I agree with you. My confusion is, how did we jump to that step already?
Yeah, and that's the
That-
thing.
and-
Like the
And I
moment we
think that
decided-
step
How
was
is that enough
already
probable
done,
cause, though?
and now we're
How is that enough-
retroactively coming up with a reason as to why.
I just don't think it's probable cause, guys. I just think you need more.
So it may be probable cause if you can articulate these are people that are in a gang together that have been arrested together doing crimes involved with the things alleged. So, for example, the things alleged in that specific warrant would be illegal firearms, right? Class 1 through 3. So Miguel Almerion and Lilith Ailhart, have they been arrested together ever doing any kind
I'm gonna
of
check.
crime
I'm exactly
with
looking it up
guns?
right now. As soon as you mentioned that, I'm looking it up right now.
I think it's probably pretty likely they have been. You could also make an insinuation that if Miguel Almerion is arrested with, for example, Sis Volker and Julio Thomas,
She has been arrested
then-
with Julio Thomas in the past. 8 days ago.
then you can make a link that they are all part of the same enterprise, even if Miguel Almerion and Lilith Ailhart have not been arrested together frequently. There are ways to make those linkages that I think could satisfy a probable cause, but it depends entirely on the circumstance, right? Every single variable, which is why I struggle with the idea of PD making those lockdown decisions. And I want you guys to have that authority and discretion because I think you need to act quickly, and a judge is not always in the city to do so. And I don't want to make you guys do more paperwork, but until we get clarification,
Yo,
I'm kinda
Nicholas
nervous
Simone
about,
and Lilith Hart. Oh my god.
broad sweeping usages.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, Brian. Go to report number 24970 and tell me what you see there.
Report, like incident report or a regular report?
Incident report 24970.
Oh, shit.
4970.
Oh, shit.
3 months ago, outside the statute of limitations.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Yeah, but it can be outside the statute of limitations. It can still be investigative tool.
Oh, I 100% agree. Look. I get what you guys. I understand what you guys are arguing now. I think I want to re-underline this point. Listen, my brain's been wrapped around this investigation the last couple days. What I'm saying is that Miguel was on our radar. We were never ready to step on in and get into his house. How the fuck did we jump all the way to locking down Lilith's? I understand we can sit here now and make those connections and shit, but it was like small, loose talk. that fucking property was locked before we even knew that we had the PC. And I don't care what anyone says. That is the case. So what I heard here was literally retroactive coming up with why we can
That's
have
exactly what I
PC,
said.
but we never had it before. Yes,
That's exactly
let's
what I was
have
saying.
that conversation. Let's sit here and say this is why the connection exists, and we are going to rate it. Then you lock it down. Like that's why Miguel's wasn't done. My last conversation that I had with Bundy earlier was, yeah, let's go get the fucking subpoenas and get all this shit together, then go down that approach. You get what I'm saying?
I think, yeah, I think
No,
what it comes down to right now is if you're about to, type up a warrant, then sure, lock it down, but wait until you're actually ready to type up that warrant.
I think what we're trying to say is, I guess the term good faith is being misused. And
It's 100% bad faith.
it's causing a lot of backlash. There's a lot of people out there upset. And it's hard to justify when there's no paperwork to support it or a concrete, I guess, amount of probable cause to say, hey, well, yeah, this is happening and we can do it, right? It's kind of hard, right? It's kind of hard to defend sometimes. Some of the raids are legit. Some of them are not. So, I mean, sorry. Some of the raids are legit. Some of the lockdowns are not.
Look, I think the biggest problem is that when most people perform like a lockdown on a property or they send somebody in on a hold pending a raid, the idea is that we are going to perform that raid as soon as feasible, right? I think a lot of the tension is coming from the fact that a lot of these raids, or I mean, like Almerian, for instance, right? He was fully held for 24 hours. Property was locked down for a full 24 hours, and there was no forward momentum. I think too many situations like that is going to pop the bubble.
It's already popped. There's already backlash. People are already upset, right? So the damage has already been done. I'm saying I'm trying to prevent this from happening again and again and again. All we're asking is it shouldn't.
But here's a question: how do we prevent that from, like, for instance, the 24-hour holds? We have a system in place for that, for notification to be given to the Department of Justice and the special prosecutors and the DOC and everybody else. But even like with Miguel, nobody was notified he was being placed on a hold. So when Crane
That's just
called me and
lazy
asked
police
me,
work, right?
So when Crane called me and asked me why, I had to call 5 people to figure it out.
And like I said, I think we should crack down people are doing that. If you are placing somebody on a hold or locking down a property and not doing the right steps or operating in good faith, you should be punished. Or else you'll never learn. The same shit will keep happening, and it'll be a different day, same shit. The problem is, it's a game of telephone, like you said. We play hot potato of who fucking knows what, and nothing gets done because all we're doing is passing the phone.